Morning Facebook! It is Saturday, it is 10 a.m. I am the founder of Affinity. I'm Jen, proper name Jennifer Page. I'm the founder of Affinity. Now obviously that includes Sapphire, and it is Saturday morning, so it's time for Founder Facebook Live, where the aim of these sessions is for me to share some information with you that may be helpful. So if you, when you drop on in, please send me a wave, or drop me an emoji. I like emojis of how your day is going. Kat, I can see you're here. It doesn't ping at me unless you are my Facebook friend. So I know you're here. Please drop me an emoji, say hi. That would be great. You know the drill. I drink my coffee. But my mug choice went for Union Jack today. Just felt right on a grey Saturday morning. So welcome. I see a few of you are here. Now, so we're going to be talking about resilience today. Now, this is another requested topic that I've had. I know I asked you last time, what kind of thing can I actually help you with right now? And this was a topic actually nominated by one of our coaching team. So, we're going to talk about resilience. What is it and how do you get it? It being quite relevant right now in the current climate, but also that sport plays a huge part in it. And being resilient is a huge part of being a successful athlete, or indeed being successful at almost anything. So this is something that's relevant to lots and lots of areas. So I looked first at the definition of resilience. So this is what it says in the dictionary. It says that resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. Okay, so it's a capacity to recover quickly. I then looked at the etymology of the word, which is where it actually comes from. So it comes from the Latin resilient. It's no different, it's the same word. And that literally means leaping back. So it's not just a recovering, it's a leap, which I thought was quite relevant for gymnasts anyway. So that's what it is. Yeah, it's that ability that actually when something comes up that is a challenge, that is maybe some sort of adversity, that you actually turn that round, you not just get over it, but you leap over it into something that is even bigger. And I think there are lots and lots of examples of where actually those that are possibly the most successful at things, you kind of don't tend to get there unless there's been some form of adversity that you've had to handle that gives you the resilience to keep going and going to a new level. It's pretty rare that I think anyone, if I think into sport, any athletes that say are Olympic gold medal winners, I don't think any of them have had like a plain sailing, like the curve of success. This is another live actually. It doesn't go like this. It doesn't just carry on going. It goes up and down and all sorts. And it's your ability to then see over that to continue going forwards. That is resilience, and that is actually ultimately how you get stuff done. Pretty relevant right now in the whole Corona coaster as well. So I've got some of my top tips as to what resilience is, what a kind of a resilient process looks like. I've got 3 main areas, and then I've got some good examples through sport how it helps. Now, spoiler alert, moving helps us with every single step of this. Whether the example is within sport or not, it helps us do every single part in being resilient. So for me, my first step in being resilient is self-awareness. So it's something happens, you know, like Corona shuts down your business, or maybe as an athlete you don't make the team, you don't make the cut for a competition, something like that, or something comes up that you don't know how to handle that feels quite big. Yeah, so something happens, and my first step is self-awareness. So it often, when something happens, you have an element of perhaps panic, you might feel a negative emotion, you might just be completely paralyzed, you might be really scared. All of those things may go on, and that's always going to happen. It's kind of, no matter how resilient you are, that response is always going to happen. So we don't try and stop that, but we do become aware of it. So you can become aware of what happens. So it can be really quick. You can think, right, this big thing's happened, and you go, whoa, okay. Oh, I'm feeling scared. That's self-awareness. We're not trying to negate the feeling scared. We're actually just putting in place that you're going, oh, okay, feeling a bit scared. Yeah? And actually even just that awareness gives you then access to choose what you do about it. Whether you stay scared or whether you are aware you're scared and you're aware it won't be forever. Yeah, so self-awareness is my first step. So have a think about what you're feeling in that moment, and then trying to kind of remain calm and see through to what's actually underneath it, because we have an emotional response to something like okay, Corona's happening and you have to close down. You know, athletes can't train, things like that. We could all panic and lose our heads for the next 3 months. We could. It might be fun. It's not going to get us anywhere new, yeah? Instead, what we need to do is maybe feel those feelings and then go, okay, let's calm down. What is actually underneath it? So my next step is a letting go phase. So that can be physical and it can be emotional. Moving helps with all of this. So we talked a few times on Founder Facebook Live about how valuable moving, and I say moving, not exercise, is with dealing with challenging times. It just literally, it's not sitting there when something happens. It's like, actually, let's just get up and move. Let's try and move some of this emotion or this feeling through our bodies, which gives us access to what's going on underneath it. Yeah. So getting up and moving is one way of getting, not getting rid, but kind of letting go of some of the things. The most resilient people in life can handle change. Now, we are hardwired as humans to avoid change because it's a survival tactic. One that's less relevant in this world now, but it is a hardwired thing. So it then becomes a conscious thing that you can go, right, this thing's happened. Okay, what do I need to let go of? Right, I'm feeling fear of my body. Let me move. Yeah, let me go swing on the bars. Let me go run around the block. Anything there that helps. That helps you move it out of your body, and it also helps the emotion move through too. Then that gives you a little bit of an access to what else might be there. Gives you an access to a bit more of the truth. Okay. So that is my second step. So first step, self-awareness. Second step, letting go. It's a practice skill. Let go of what's going on. Look through to the actual truth. This is like a calming down phase. So you can think, right, this has happened. Okay, now what am I going to do about it? Which moves to my third step, which is positive emotion in any way. There are a lot of different ways of managing that. My favourite at the moment has to be the reframe. So that means considering what else something could mean. So, for example, I take the Corona example again. Okay, we've been closed down. Okay, so that could mean, it could mean the end. It genuinely could. It could mean the end, or it could be an opportunity to reinvent and do something else. It's that reframe of it. Like, it doesn't have to be what you initially think. Your brain will initially go to all the worst case scenarios, and sometimes that's helpful, but then actually reframe it. What could be the positivity? You don't even need to believe it. You just need to start thinking what could be the positive thing underneath this. So reframe. Yeah, consider what else could something mean. What could it be meaning? Could it be? It could even be you've been diagnosed with some health condition, some challenge. But actually, the reframe could be, well, perhaps you're finding out about it now before it becomes something worse. So actually, it's helping you in a kind of weird, inadvertent way, if you see where that goes. That can sound bizarre, but it can also then help you if you're thinking that actually the reframe is, well, this actually is positive because this is going to help me achieve this so that I don't have to do that. Yeah, or this will help me achieve this so that I can move on and do that other cool thing I want to do. Yeah, element of reframe is really helpful just to at least get us thinking a little bit differently. And other ways of bringing in some positive emotion here is some of the stuff we talked about last week. We were talking about seeking out the positive, even though there's like a ton of negative around all the time. You can tune your brain in to seeing the positive in things. So, you know, we talked about last week about how when you perhaps want to buy a certain car, you suddenly see that car everywhere. It's the same thing. If you can tune your brain in to look at some positives, they will be there. Now, they may not be bigger than the negative or the thing you're handling, but they give you access to some positivity and some good feeling, and that helps you handle everything else that's going on. And that is the resilience part of it. Yeah, if that makes sense. If this is making sense to you, type me in a yes or hit the like button. Nikki, I can see you're here. Good morning. I'd love to hear if you guys have ever kind of faced a big challenge. You don't have to tell me the challenge, but as in, have you ever been through a challenge that actually, at the end of it, in hindsight, you've looked back and gone, that was a good lesson. It enabled me to go on and do other things. Was it, you know, was it in a weird way positive afterwards? If that's the case, type yes. Hi Jade, morning. talking about resilience today. I've just been giving my definition on what it is, and also then my top 3 tips. Top 3 tips for the process, mainly being self-awareness, then letting go, and then bringing in positive emotion. We've got a few ways of doing it. Now, moving, she says wearing her gymnastics t-shirt is obviously a way of bringing a positive. It does release chemicals in the brain and through the body that help us feel good. So even if you can't do any of the mental work with reframing your thoughts and you can't see anything positive out there at all, just move. Yeah, it really helps us, yeah? Kat says almost every day. Yes, I would agree with you. Yes, every day we probably face something that is a little challenging, that then means we actually go through, and then when you look back, you go, oh yeah, actually that was kind of inadvertently helpful. That helped me build resilience, which means you can deal with the next thing. All these little things all add up, because then when you're hit with something bigger, you have that resilience, that ability, that bounce back ability, or leaping ability, as the Latin definition told us, to move forwards onto more stuff. These experiences actually completely shape us as people, and we can totally use it to our advantage. And that is where sport comes in a lot of ways, because it teaches us this exact ability, this exact resilience. Particularly in a sport like gymnastics, we're typically teaching children, although I totally think adults, you can just definitely going to reframe this into more of an adult sport, I believe. I think we can gain all of this stuff as adults. It does not have to be about children, but at the moment I'm talking to most of you probably are parents in the club who have a child that attends class. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in the context of children, because they're the ones that kind of grow obviously right in front of us, but as adults we can do it too. All these experiences help build this resilience, which means we can go on and do other things and, to be honest, move through life in more of an effortless way. Stuff will come up, it is how it works. And if you can then kind of bounce through it, it's a much more enjoyable way to live, rather than being like battered down all the time, which is pretty wearing. And that just leads to kind of a downward spiral, which we know where that goes. It's not a lot of fun. So developing these skills in a safe environment, like sport, you know, rather than some big life or death situation, is really, really beneficial for us to teach children how to do this, because then they can go on and achieve more stuff, which is going to set them up for life. So I've got a couple of examples of how sport does this. Some of you may relate to these, obviously, if you are athletes, or if you've got children in the gym. I've also got a business-related one that I'll relate to as well. So if anyone is running a business, maybe you're self-employed or you're even working for an organisation, have any type of role within it, I'll explain a bit how this resilience kind of leaping has happened with Affinity and how we've approached it so far. Obviously, the story's not over yet. So I've got one example within athletes. Imagine perhaps that you don't make the team that you want. I'm thinking, well, cheerleaders have team placements every year. Perhaps you don't get on the team you'd really want to be on, or perhaps a gymnast doesn't make a cut for a competition, or it could even be that you just didn't manage to do your cartwheel today at practice. Any type of kind of event that comes up like that. Now, you can either choose to sit in the immediate kind of negativity of it. You could rant and rave about it, about how unfair it is. You could simply give up. You could turn that internal and feel bad about yourself. A lot of people do that. It's it's a really quite a damaging way to live, which is this is something we really need to teach our children to not do that. We can give them those tools to just stand up for themselves a little bit more, that would transform everything. So instead of sitting there and feeling it's really crappy and that you haven't made it and you're a failure, or blame the system that, you know, they didn't put me in the right team or the right thing, and rant and rave at that. Those are two ways of handling it. You could do that. Or you could have a bit of self-awareness about it and start to turn it around and see some positives in there. You can use it as an opportunity to progress further. So that athlete that has the setback about the team, but actually then turns around and goes, okay, so what do I need to do to make the team? And how do I get there? So in this instance, it would be, well, let's go talk to the coaches and ask them. Yeah, just ask. Let's say, right, so we didn't make this team, but we're feeling a bit disappointed. What can we do to progress? And by asking that question, you will likely get a whole load of feedback back from the coaches going, okay, cool, so we were looking for this. We feel you've got this and this. This bit's not quite here yet. Perhaps here's a training plan, you know, right, you need to develop more strength, for example. here's a training plan, let's go and do it. Let's actually work on how we get there. When can we next review it? You know, and actually that athlete that has that conversation with their coach and is hungry for more help will receive it plentifully. And then if they go away and do this training plan and work on those strengths and come back, like, how much of a better athlete are they going to be because of that experience? It's really, really huge. The athlete that just gets on the team and is maybe a little bit complacent isn't really going to grow as much sometimes as the one that has to go through the adversity to get there. So this is why sometimes these negative emotions we go through are actually helpful if we use them to our advantage in that way. It's rare for anyone who's ever actually kind of achieved anything in life. I mean, you think about our Olympic gold medal winners, I doubt that they just sailed on through and won the medal. I doubt that at some point in their career they will have had something challenging. Beth Tweddle, who you will have known about, she had almost a career-ending ankle injury early on, I think in her early teens or so. You know, she could have given up. She could have stopped at that point. She didn't. She carried on training. She mainly went and trained bars because her ankle was sore. And then look how great she got at bars. And then she won multiple world championships on the bars. And then also won other pieces as well. Once her ankle had healed, she returned back into the whole of the sport. You could argue that if she had not gone through that ankle break, she would not have become that gymnast and would have not have broken through and won all those world medals. You know, so in hindsight, use these experiences to your benefit. We also see this with coaches. It's another example for you. I need more coffee. So with coaches, often we have to take exams as coaches. So, and it's quite a nerve-wracking thing to do. I also assess coaches through British Gymnastics, or at least I did. Whether we'll return to that, we'll see. Obviously, it's all suspended right now. And you might get coaches that sail through an exam. Yes, this would relate also to anyone, you know, your A-levels, your GCSEs, your professional qualifications, anything you guys might take in life in terms of an exam, driving test even, you know. And you might just sail through and carry on. Brilliant, you know, carry on. Sometimes the coaches that don't make it the first time, actually, in my opinion, as an assessor and a trainer of coaches, actually become the better coaches in the long run. Because what it makes them do is it makes them go back and examine what they've done. So if we have not passed a gymnast on their level 1, for example, their first step, they have to go back. They get an action plan off the assessor before they leave with the points of what to do. You don't actually get that if you pass. I mean, or you kind of can set stretch goals, but they're not the same sometimes as the ones you set under adversity. It tends to be more directed when it's, you need to work on this, this, this and this. We're going to do it in this way, and then you're going to come back for reassessment. That gives you actually quite a really clear structure, and it enables you to go away and think about and reflect on how your coaching is going. Those coaches that then go and do that and then go back and retake the exam a few months later often are way better than the standards that they needed to pass. They sail through. They become better coaches because they've built self-reflection into what they do. Self-awareness, which is the first step I had in here of resilience. It's making them do it. And I think they are the better coaches for it. Yeah. And then the final example I'll give you is within, well, I'm going to use it for the affinity example, the current situation we're in. I could say in business or organisations or anything kind of work related. So the whole corona situation, it's a massive adversity thing. It's a massive wall of stuff that came in and said, right, Jen, you have to shut your classes, and you've still got rent to pay, and you've still got staff to pay, and you've still got ongoing costs, and you've got a mortgage, and everyone else has mortgages, not just you, and you've got now 700 people that want to come to class but can't, but half of them now want to leave because you can't do classes and they won't come back. And do you know what? On this social distancing, which will make everything completely unviable. It's pretty rough and it looks pretty awful. I've got to say, it's very awful. So you could choose that opportunity and go, yeah, that's the end. I mean, actually, I'm not just saying from a negative point of view, from an actual practical point of view, yeah, it's pretty much the end. I mean, we're not viable socially distanced to 2 meters. With the additional cleaning that will take to go in between classes and the additional staff to pick up kids from probably car parks and clean and all of that. It's pretty grim, let's say. So could choose just to stop. And some people have, and I don't deny them that at all. I think some ways it's kind of smart. I've actually been advised twice to shut. But I've been advised by well-wishers that don't know all the ins and outs of it. Not by, well, actually one person said I probably should shut, who probably knew what they're talking about, but still. So I could choose in that point to go, no, done, that's it, I'm just gonna, this big wall of corona's come against me, I'll just stop, we've had our day, we've done well, let's just move on. And that would be okay. That would be totally okay. Or you can choose to have a bit of self-awareness. I go through my steps on here. So my self-awareness is mainly firstly to calm down. I need to lead people through this. So calm down, see what the truth of it is. The truth of it is, well, okay, we can't run physically, but we could run online. We will be able to return at some point. In the long term, people are still going to want to do gymnastics. It's not like we're running a high street shop, which would be still more challenging, I think, to come back because we shop online, although I still think there's ways. But people are still going to want to do gymnastics long term. Yeah. Let go of what's currently going on. Okay, so we can't run physically, fine. Like, let me be proactive now, you know, what can we do? And positive reframe. So the reframe is actually, perhaps this whole period is meaning a complete reinvent, and what if it is actually the opportunity and the making of us as an organisation and individuals and Affinity and Sapphire as a whole to go forward into something new that's actually better than what was. You know, what if that is the case? Now, that is quite an exciting prospect. And with that in mind, that gives us the motivation and the ability to go and do it, or at least try. Now, it may work, you know, we may come back brilliantly. The athlete who didn't make the team may come back, do their training plan and make the team. The coach may go back and pass their exam again, or it may not. It may be that that athlete comes back and it doesn't, and they don't reach that standard and they're still disappointed. The coach may still fail again. Affinity may still not exist in the future. It's all possible. However, having gone through that challenge and built even more resilience, that gives us even more ability to then leap through that next little part of adversity when it comes up, if it comes up. It means then, well, there'll be another reinvent of Affinity. We'll go and do something even more different, or do it in another different way. Yeah, the coach will find another way of passing the qualification, or maybe they move into another sport or another thing. Yeah, so I think it's always worth having that positive reframe and then stepping into something else. It's quite a good skill, I think. So that is all I have to say about resilience today. I would love to take any questions. I'd love to know if does this give you any other, something you might go and do now? What are you feeling positive about? Yeah, that'd be a good one. Give us something you're feeling positive about now, even though it might be an adverse situation. What are you feeling positive about being able to do now, or try now in this whole situation? I will drink my coffee whilst you type. Give me some positivity, even if it's just that, oh, is the sun come out? Sun's come out, there's a little tiny bit of sun. That's still good. Or the fact that you can consider that you might enjoy the sunshine, that's even a bit of positivity. You know, are you running a business? Are you self-employed? Have you thought of a new way you might manage things? Does this opportunity give you a chance to actually get on with something else? That's another thing we're doing actually. We were already mid-restructure. So we're spending a lot of this time running online and also continuing that restructure and getting our roles in the right place so that when we do start, we're going to fly. It's going to be amazing. Even with social distancing, and I've got ways of working with that. Anyone got any athlete stories? Any times maybe with someone? Nikki's posted. Hey, thanks for the comment, Nikki. She says, new potential online business, which may be bigger than offline business. Yes. Yeah, that's a great one. And I know what that is in particular, but even if I didn't, that is awesome. And also potentially, Nikki, I think for you, possibly being able to run an online business might fit better with your family and other commitments than having to be physically in a physical business all the time. Online tends to have lower overheads as well. Can be quite useful from that point of view. I still don't think the whole world needs to go online. I think we need an element of connection. Like, we're so missing that right now. But to have both, you know, so you've got an online and a connected side, that's definitely brilliant. Yeah, so that is an awesome positive thing, and I'm excited about that one, Nikki. Remind me, I've got some online course info for you. Remind me to send it to you. Anyone else got anything positive going on? Yep, Nikki says agreed. Yes. Yeah. I'm excited. Since you're here, it deserves a shout out to Nikki's business's You Felty Thing. Feel free to tag it, Nikki. She runs a wool and yarn shop in London now, which is still shut. However, is online, and she's got an incredible community of, forgive me if I get this wrong, knitters, people that spin things. I'm explaining this wrong, but it's all to do with really, she's got great local specialist dyers. So it's not just kind of your mass-produced wool stuff, it's really specialist stuff, it's independent, and that she's writing her own patterns and stuff. Particularly, I know she's going into areas that other people haven't thought of, like men's sweaters. I didn't know this till recently. There's not very many patterns to knit your own men's sweater, so going into those kind of areas. So do check her out. Pat says, my daughter didn't lose her job with EasyJet, so she still will be looking after grandchildren. That's nice, that's a good positive one. Yes, especially somewhere like EasyJet, they're obviously massively affected, and it's not like you can... Aeroplane flights are a tricky one to go around in this time, isn't it? Obviously, it's not like you can suddenly do aeroplane journeys online, but great that she's still involved, and obviously they will be something that pick back up. Jade says, now I'm on my phone, Jade, and when you write long comments, it doesn't let me look at the end of them. Oh, no, it has, cool. Jade says, at our school, prior to lockdown, the children had a lot of behavioural issues and things were quite manic. But coming back to school, they really appreciate being back. Yeah, I'm sure they do. And they're playing a lot better with one another in their little smaller bubbles. And they have to play with children they've never played with before. Yeah, that's kind of nice, isn't it? Actually, that's making connections with other kids that they wouldn't have done. Probably the same for us. I reckon we all connected with people online we might not have normally. And after this, I'm sure we'll be literally going everywhere we can to see other people. And yeah, interesting about the behavioural issues, because that's one of the things we thought about with the whole, you know, social distancing. How do you encourage children to socially distance when perhaps normally they might actually not, you know, when you say, right, sit here, they don't always do that. So we're going to have to literally be, you have to sit here. You know, how do we do that? But it does seem to be that the kids are kind of understanding this a bit more, so it's interesting that. And if they've, you know, obviously they've missed the time with their peers, I bet it's really cool seeing them coming back. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward to the most, is probably the first day of classes. This is another way of keeping positive, to keep in mind actually, when I'm in the gym now, I visualise it being full of children again. Or maybe not full, at least having some children in there, let's say, some children are coaches. And yeah, them actually being really happy about that, and it being a really fun thing. I can imagine that would have been really nice, Jade, to see the kids coming back and enjoying that. It's got to be like quite high after a little while. Thanks for that. Nikki's posted the link to her shop, so yeah, awesome. If anyone else is running a business like that, feel free to tag it. And if you're here now, you can let me know about it and I'll give you a shout out. Otherwise, it'll be here for a replay. Yeah, I've nearly done my coffee. Jason's exactly, yeah. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to experiencing it. I know it will happen some point soon. We really thought we were going to be in the July the 4th bit, as you know, Jade. But yes, this is the resilience as well. That's part of it. So, you know, be mad at the whole thing for a little while. And then let's move on. Let's positive it. Yeah, we can still open at some point. We think maybe it's mid-July now. There's been talk about that. There was, well, it's a tweet from the government. I mean, I'm not going to take that as read, but I don't think it will be too long anyway. It's just what measures there are within it, and certainly if school's going back September, our main return is September anyway, so we're okay. But the other thing is now actually after that announcement as well, that's part of the thing that's changed is, well, let's look a bit more strongly into doing outdoor classes over the summer. It was always an option, but we thought we'd get back in the gym, so we'd just do them in the gym. We might now look at them being outdoors, so it doesn't really mean we have to change it, just has to go somewhere else. Looking for a suitable space for that though. If anyone's got a really big garden, let me know. That's what I was going to say. Right, change for next week. Those of you that join us or have in the past joined us for Shake Off the School Day, it was the free 10-minute fun dance around your living room, shake off the day movement. A lot of these Facebook Lives I told you about the value of moving, to move through these emotions, and also obviously from a fitness point of view. We've moved it to 4:30. We've pushed it back an hour because now that actually a lot of people are actually in school again, or sometimes in school, 3:30 is now no longer a day that you're at home ready to dance around your living room. So we've moved it to 4:30, and that starts from Monday. So I'm in on Monday, Dan is teaching it Tuesday, I believe Eleanor's Wednesday, and then I'm back Thursday, Friday. So join us, it's so much fun. The link will be on this page, it's in Zoom, but the link is on here, and that will now be 4:30. So hope you enjoy that. Now, if anyone else has any other messages, last call for messages. Otherwise, thank you for joining me. My coffee is nearly cold. It's not too bad. Hope you've got the rest of the weekend planned. It does look a bit brighter out here now. It's not raining. Might get outside for a bit. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Be great to hear if you want to post in the comments later about what has any more positive things going on for you. If you are dealing with something that you can't get over right now, drop me a message. I'm happy to help. If I can take you through this, sort of help with a bit of resilience, this leaping through, do get in touch. Either from an athlete, gymnast point of view, or from, you know, if any of you are working in small business or leading your own things and you need some help with that, please do get in touch. I'm happy to help. I have been helping quite a few business owners in that exact thing during this time, and I'm happy to extend that to you guys too. So please just do let me know. Otherwise, have a great day. I'll see you next week.